Hello my friends, and welcome to my channel. In today's video I'm going to be trying make another tree. This was a look for less inspiration. I found a similar tree on Wayfair that was way out of my budget, or way more than I wanted to spend. I'm also going to include my other two trees that I had made prior to this one, so you can get even more fake tree or faux tree inspiration. So after some brainstorming, I ventured out into my garden and picked up this branch. I got this off of my lilac tree, and then I had trimmed it off, all the branches that were shooting off, but leaving about an inch on the main branch. This way, this provided a base for my lavender, and the lavender that I'm using is from Walmart, and it was $1, I think 49, if I'm right. And then I had this pot from Dollarama that was $3, and then I also had some foam, floral foam, that I was going to use it. These were just odds and ends that I had laying around my house. So the first thing that I did is I took these lavenders, took the price off, and then I had trimmed off the branches. This is such a beautiful lavender. I think probably the best one out there. I like it so much more than the one from Dollar Tree, although the one from Dollar Tree is really nice, and it was actually $1.24. So I live in Canada, so if the prices are a little bit different than the US prices, that is why. So I just use some cutting shears. I'm not sure what these are meant for, but they work really well for the wire. I just randomly find tools in my husband's toolbox and see what works. I'm sure that's not the way you're supposed to do things, but that's the way I do them. And I often get into trouble, and this is why I wasn't allowed to use a drill for this project. I should go out and get myself my own drill so I can just have it and use it whenever I can. So I did use screwdriver, but again, it wasn't working as well as I was hoping. So I found this picture hanging thing that you get in a set from Dollar Tree, and screwing it into the branches worked actually quite well. I did have to trim the ends a little bit more, and once I made the hole, I just put a little bit of glue and shoved them right in there with that glue. So as I mentioned, this was definitely an inspiration from Wayfair. And as you can see, the price is $209.99, and that is 60% off for a 72-inch faux lavender topiary in stone pot. So I could take this further and create a stone effect on my pot, but I am planning on putting that pot in like a basket, so that way I didn't want to do any of that, but you can definitely do that as well. And mine was about, I would say, about 4 feet tall. So a little bit shorter, because the other one is about 6 feet. But nevertheless, I think you could still make this for a lot less, even if I would have found a branch that was tall enough. I was just worried that I was going to make it a little bit too top heavy. Now I am using floral foam because right now it's fairly cold outside, and I didn't want it to bring in concrete and mix it inside. But if I decide to take this tree outside, which I'm thinking I might, I will go out and get some concrete and actually use a different container to and put this branch in wet concrete, and that way it will be heavier. Now if you were to do that right off the bat, you could totally use a lot longer branch and make the tree 6 feet. But I like I said, right now I'm still keeping it inside because we still have a lot of snow outside, and it is very cold. It's fairly cold still, so this is how I did it. It's just to give you a couple different options what you can do with this. And again, instead of using the little picture hanger to make holes in it, you can totally use a very, very small bit on your drill and drill holes in gently. That would work as well. I love making these trees. That's why I'm going to be sharing the other two that I made prior, one last year and one the year before, just so you can get even more inspiration. And everything had come from dollar store supplies, not necessarily Dollar Tree, because we also have Dollarama here and your dollar store and more as well. Once I got towards the end, the top little piece of branch was giving me a bit more hard time than any of the other ones. I think it was because it was the thickest one. But I just want to say that if you use your drill, you probably won't be struggling as much as I was. Once it was all assembled, I did actually shake it up too, just to see if the lavender was going to fall off, and the lavender's good in there. I think making those holes and sticking it in with some hot glue definitely helped it be more secure. So here I am hot gluing these floral foam pieces, and I knew I was going to struggle with this. I just knew it. I do think pouring concrete in will definitely be the easiest way to do this, but I ended up adding another foam piece to the top just to make it a little bit more secure. And then I am going to be filling the whole thing with some rocks. I have lots of rocks on hand. My daughter, when she was little, decided she wanted to do rock collection, but she was collecting all the rocks, not just pretty rocks. So I had to store them in shoe boxes under her bed. Now she had grew out of that and cleared from under her bed, but I kept all the rocks, first for daycare and then for the crafting. So I had lots on hand, but first I also added some dirt as well, just to keep the foam from moving too much while it's setting. I'm sure there's other ways you can do this without adding dirt, but this is all the stuff I had in my craft room, so I utilized it. The rocks definitely weighed the whole thing down and made it even more sturdier. So then to top it up, I did use some deer moss just to fill it in, and this is just odds and ends that I had again in my craft room. So my total project cost me $7.96. If I want to include maybe the hot glue that I used and some of the items that I already had on hand, it would still be under $10. That's like $200 savings, and I love the way this tree turned out. I would love to know what you guys thought. Did you like it just as much as I did? And then make sure you stick around till after to check out the other two trees. One was made out of pepper branches, and the other one is a lemon tree. Next DIY, I have picked up this basket. It was in a mint condition for $1.50. It did come from Dollarama, and it still had a price tag. It was $4 at Dollarama, but I picked it up at a Value Village for a lot less, and it was still brand new. So also I went to dollar store and picked up some floral bricks as well as some deer moss, and I picked these pepper branches a while back at a dollar store. I think I have a haul on one of my channels where I had featured, where I shared that. The basket was nice. I mean, it was, like I said, in a mint condition. I just did not love the color, so I took my cocoa chalk paint, Annie Sloan chalk paint, and just dry brushed it on just to give it a little bit of a lighter color. You could probably just leave it as is if that's the color that works for you, or paint it any color you want. That's the beauty of making your own home decor DIYs. You can really make them look any way you want, whatever works for you. So I love the way this ended up looking. And then once I had painted it, I have added some rocks to the bottom of it just to weigh it down a little bit. And then I glued the one foam brick to the other. That way I had some height. You could also add more rocks to the bottom and elevate it that way. Then I filled it in with some tissue paper, or it's actually a packing paper, but you could use tissue paper. And then I added some of these branches, but I did not like how they were kind of fanning away from each other. So I took a green twist tie and I just twist tied them together at the bottom. And that did the trick, and it kept it in place so they were close together. Then I continued filling it up with the filler paper, the packing paper, and then on top of it I just laid some of the moss, making sure I had covered all of that paper, and this just made it look like the basket was full. And then I had spread the little branches out as well, and I love the little tiny peppers on it. I think this was great. I picked this like I said, at a dollar store, but it was your dollar store with more, and they were each $5.
I swear I'll try my best to always be there, and I want you to know that I'm lost without you. I'm not without you. I hope I can show what you mean to me, 'cause I don't know what to do.
For my last project, I am going to be recreating this lemon tree that had come from Hobby Lobby as well. And this lemon tree regular price is $59.99. And I have spray painted this galvanized bucket with some black paint, and you're going to be needing some florist foam. I am adding some rocks just to weigh it down, some deer moss, these garden sticks that I picked up at dollar store, as well as everything except the rocks had come from dollar store, and some of the lemons had come from dollar store, and some were thrifted, and all the greenery came from dollar store as well. So I had measured the stick, I cut a piece off. I just didn't want it to be too tall. And then I'm going to hot glue this piece of florist foam and push through the stick, push through it. And then I'm adding some rocks just to weigh it down. And then I covered the rocks with the deer moss. But before I do that, I actually decided that I wanted the stick to be a little bit darker, so I stain it with the same stain that I have been using. Now, I would suggest that you do this part before you glue it onto the bucket. It's just so much easier. But since I wasn't planning on doing it, but then decided to do it after, I was doing it backwards. To attach the leaves, I was contemplating about hot gluing them, but then I decided to use some florist wire to attach them all together. So you just want to build a kind of a tree look-alike, I guess. I was using the picture from the dupe to kind of match up the leaves. Do you guys love dupes? Do you love recreating, creating something that looks expensive and that you found in a store and recreated it? I think it's a great way to save money, and you can always put that personal touch onto them as well. If something's not quite the way you wanted it, you can make it exactly the way you want it. And you can stretch your dollar quite a bit with just a little bit of imagination. Once all my leaves were in place, I am going to be adding the lemons, and I'm just using the wire from a fake plant or a bunch of flowers that I've had and used for something else, and I'm just cutting off the little pieces of wire off of them because it's fairly thick, and I thought it would be but bendable, and I thought this would be great thing to use because I can poke it through the lemon, and then I can also wrap it around the stick. I did use glue on hot glue on a couple of them, but just to keep them from moving, but not too much of it. I think it turned out so cute. I think for around $5, you can't beat the price, and I think it's gonna look great with my summer decor. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to press the subscribe button. So until next time, hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I will see you all in my next video. Thanks for watching.